Hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. Most times, when we look back on the icons who took reggae music mainstream, we always celebrate the musicians who played the music and often overlook the humongous influence of radio disc jockeys. In these days of social media, it's very easy to forget how influential they were in popular culture back in the day. In Jamaica today, reggae is of course the most played genre of music on the radio airwaves, but it wasn't always the case. Back in the 1970s, when media was mostly government controlled, reggae was actually frowned upon as Rasta music, heavily scrutinized and stepped down in favor of foreign pop music. But this tide would turn all due to the heroics of the subject of today's video in the great Mikey Dread. In those deeply conservative days, in the then newly post-colonial Jamaica, he would spearhead a revolution with his now legendary 4-hour reggae show titled Dread at the Controls, the show that truly brought reggae to the airwaves. He wasn't the first disc jockey to spin reggae records on air, mind you, as others like the great Neville Willoughby had been doing that since the 1960s, as well as maestros like Errol Thompson. But Dread at the Controls was edgy, unfiltered, and featured Mikey Dread on the wheels of steel, playing sizzling dub plates and urban anthems that were huge on the sound system scene in the streets, but totally unknown in middle class and upper class Jamaica. He would become the #1 disc jockey in Jamaica before conservative establishment interests forced him to leave and segue into performing and producing by himself, a foray that would see him mentored by King Tubby and also work with industry heavyweights, heavily influence the punk movement, and also produce and perform with rock legends. His versatility and work would take him around the globe as he quietly pushed reggae into mainstream radio with devastating results. Let's take a look at the unforgettable legacy of Mikey Dread. He was born on the 4th of June 1954 in Port Antonio, Jamaica. He grew up in a middle-class home and showed genius ability in science subjects like physics while in high school. His aptitude for electronics, combined with his love for music, saw him working for sound systems, fixing speakers and amplifiers, and also doing work on his school's radio station. After leaving high school, he got admission to study electrical engineering at the College of Arts and Technology, and after graduating in 1976, he found a job with the Jamaican Broadcasting Corporation. Back then, 90% of the music played was foreign pop, rock, and country music playlists, with very little indigenous music getting any airplay, and the few reggae tracks that they played were heavily scrutinized and censored, while the music that was banging at sound system dances and house parties were smoking hot releases like The Right Time by the Mighty Diamonds, Trenchtown Mix-Up by the Gladiators, and Legalize It from Peter Tosh. The then 22-year-old was horrified at the whole climate and convinced his bosses to give him his own radio program, and they agreed to let him have his show, which he named Dread at the Controls, which started at midnight and ran for 4 hours. Hosting that show under the name Mikey Dread, he would unleash the hottest tunes and dub plates, tearing up the streets from a dreadlock Rasta point of view, spinning records that were militant and edgy, as well as giving dancehall artists a platform they couldn't get anywhere else except at live sound system gigs. The show caught on like wildfire and quickly became a movement, with a huge number of people staying up all night to tune in to Dread at the Controls. He was extremely popular all over the country, and his innovative style saw him bag the highly coveted Radio Personality of the Year in 1977 and 1978, a massive achievement for such a young broadcaster, and he would end the year 1978 with a performance at the Reggae Sunsplash. And in those times, he began to get interested in producing music and would come under the tutelage of King Tubby. But despite having the biggest show on Jamaican radio for 2 years straight, his bosses refused to give him a primetime slot, which was madness, as the show was not only huge on the island, but grew in popularity even abroad, as cassette recordings of his broadcasts would find their way abroad and inspired many copycats, including a UK reggae lover named David Rodigan. Mikey Dread eventually got tired at the whole affair and quit the JBC in late 1978. He found work immediately as a sound engineer stroke producer at Duke Reid's Treasure Isle Studios and would form his own label, also called Dread at the Controls. His skills saw him soon working for various producers like Sonia Pottinger, Joe Gibbs, and Lee Scratch Perry, while also putting out music for artists like Sugar Minott, Earl 16, and Junior Mervyn under his own label. a brilliant toaster, his first two albums, titled Africa Anthem and Dread at the Controls, both came out in 1979 and featured the phenomenal skills that made him a superstar on Jamaican radio. And Dread at the Controls in particular got picked up and distributed by UK reggae record label Trojan Records and struck a serious chord in Britain with the skinhead movement and the punks. Punk rock band The Clash became huge fans of his work and invited him to England to tour with them and produce some of their songs. And in result, Mikey Dread produced their top 10 smash hit Bank Robber of their 1980 album Sandinista and performed on various tracks on that compilation. He would perform with The Clash on their massive global tour and would acquire many new fans around the world along the way. Before the year was over, he enrolled at the National Broadcasting School in London and graduated with honours in media production and broadcasting. He would spend the next few years incredibly busy doing his own music and putting out albums while producing for various artists, including UB40, with whom he toured as supporting acts and even mixed and mastered their smash hit Red Red Wine. He was also hired to narrate the popular UK reggae show Deep Roots in 1982 and also did his thing as a reggae radio DJ in the Netherlands. And not done with self-improvement, he enrolled at the North London Polytechnic to study advanced recording technology and graduated with honours. His stint in the Netherlands played a huge role in popularizing reggae over there, as his Friday morning reggae show called Rockers in the Morning became hugely popular. After producing for tons of artists in the 1980s from his base in the UK, he moved to Miami in 1989 and would sporadically put out hit songs such as 1990's Source of Your Divorce. And he would tour Europe with the likes of Freddie McGregor and the Roots Radics for the next 2 years, before going back to college to earn a bachelor's degree in broadcasting and became program director at a Miami-based TV station that was called the Caribbean Satellite Network. He would juggle that position with hosting several shows on the channel, as well as touring to promote his 1993 album, Obsession. Describing this great man as versatile is a massive understatement. He kept performing and touring into the new millennium, though he began to carefully select shows that he appeared in to keep his mystique. He would make hugely impactful appearances in the biggest reggae festivals on the globe, like the Montreux Jazz Festival in 2002 and Glastonbury in 2004 alongside Bonnie Wailer and the Wailers Band. His last major tour was in 2006 in Britain, and in that time he began to re-release many of his classic albums from the 70s and 1980s on his own label. Sadly, in late 2007, the world found out that he was undergoing treatment for a brain tumor, and barely a year later, after a brave battle with the illness, the great Mikey Dread passed away in Connecticut in the US in March 2008 at just 54 years old. His tragic passing was the end of a phenomenal life as one of the most impactful figures in popular music across all genres. He was the man who formed the template of reggae radio shows and in the process revolutionized Jamaican radio, forged an unbreakable link between reggae, rock and punk that exists till this day, and played a massive role in reggae's emergence as a mainstream sound. By all standards, a genius and icon whose legacy we must never forget. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, God bless.